Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, B. How's it going?
Morning. Feeling good, Mom. How you doing today?
Good. Look,
Oh,
spoon
you
and
got
all.
yours. Yeah. Mine's on the way. Mine is
You
on the
don't
way.
have yours?
Nah, it's on the way though. We grinded it
Um,
up. Grinded the beans
hey,
up this morning.
check your Instagram because it check your Instagram. Did you close it out? Because it says you may have to send me a new key. I don't
Yeah,
know how soon.
they tripping on me. They're saying we removed your content. Um, let's see. Yep, they're saying they
Yeah,
removed
I
the
can
content.
it may have closed down. If it closes, it's yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's saying that my video, that the live that I just posted up, was nudity or sexual activity. So I don't know what they talking about. When I just said that I put up this live stream, is saying that it's nudity or sexual activity. So I have no idea what they talking about. It's just Instagram tripping. We'll try it again. Let's see.
What video?
The one that we just put up, as soon as it came up, it said that it was nudity. It said it saw something that was nudity just now. So I don't know. I don't know what this.
Our video?
What we're doing right now when we started
You want to
live.
try it again?
Yeah, I'm gonna try it again. I don't know what's going on with this thing. But welcome
They
everybody to the
trip
End of
like
Season
that.
podcast. You know how I go. Um, this is day 73. They trying to shut it down, man. But it's cool because we gonna keep starting it up. But how are you, Mama? How, as I get this situated over here, how's your morning going? How's your night? How's your yesterday?
Great. It was good. I had a good day. I had a good day yesterday. So all good here. All good. Welcome everybody. As we try to figure out what Instagram is doing because we want to make sure that we do our due diligence there as well. Welcome to our YouTube. Maybe I should check that if social media is on a trip this morning. These pages are not really ours, y'all. Like we could wake up and they all be gone. So y'all better know how to keep in touch with who you want to keep in touch with, right? So if you're rocking with us this morning, go ahead and say good morning in the comments. I'm going to check them real quick while Brandon tries to get the Instagram. Nelda Brown KL says, hey, 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 you owe me
Hey,
a
hey,
phone
hey.
call. I called you. Brother Mike says, good morning. And for sure, Miss Brenda Davis, happy Saturday, everyone. Thank you guys for rocking with us. I see we do have some more people out there. So drop a note here, say hello to us. Um, I'm going to get right into it while Brandon, I'm going to go ahead and pull some of our things in. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys, and if you've been looking out there, today's topic is what do you need?
What
Right?
do you
Y'all, that's one
need?
of my favorite questions because with the assessment, the life language profile, I rather call it because assessment tends to kind of scare people away sometimes. But we all need assessing whether we want to believe that or not. But what do you need is one of our two questions. What do you need from me and how do you need it? And I help people internalize that. What do you need from yourself and how do you need it? Because once you determine that, sharing it with others and making it happen is easier, right? Easier doesn't mean you don't still have to do the work, but it is easier. So,
Right.
Brandon, how are you over there? As I
I'm looking okay. I'm gonna send you this stream key one more time. We're
okay,
gonna try to get it rolling.
okay. You
We will
send it
see.
to me, and then if you'll go ahead and kick it off, because I have to get out of here this morning. This is going to be short and sweet, unless Brandon can carry it on or wants to carry it on. I'll have to get off at 7:30. So,
Okay,
Brandon, go ahead and do your thing while I get us set up
sounds
here
good.
on the
I just
Instagram.
okay. I just sent it to you. So we are on day 73. What do you need? And if you haven't been here, or if this is um, your first time being at the beginning of the show, we are reading through Dennis Kimbro's Daily Motivations for African American Success. An incredible book. If you haven't gotten the book, please go to Amazon.com or the Barnes and Nobles or wherever you can find publications and get this book. Read this book along with us every single day. Daily Motivations for African American Success will help you focus on the thoughts, the attitudes, and the deeds that will lead to the achievement of your true goals. So in 365 short, powerful motivations, one for each day of the year, Dennis Kimbro, author of the popular Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice, leads us to discover how to use the present moment and our own gifts to transcend labels, cultivate a positive attitude, become wise enough to know when to say yes and when to say no, and to look inward for answers to life's challenges. Each motivation begins with words of wisdom from such distinguished and celebrated African Americans as Malcolm X, Marion Wright Elderman, Whoopi Goldberg, Charlene Hunter Galt, Bill Cosby,
Okay.
Carl Rowan, Mother Hale, Reverend Leon Sullivan, and hundreds of others. This treasure trove of practical inspiration will give you fresh encouragement every day of the year, but what it teaches will last a lifetime. So that's the gist of the book, and we've been reading Daily Motivation since February in celebration of African American and Black History Month. But we, like our history, have extended way beyond just 1 month. So thank you for being here, Mom. Did we get everything kind of situated?
It appears to be fine.
It does. Interesting. Okay, I can't see it anymore now, but we'll figure it out. I'm gonna just let it be because I can't
Well,
see it.
I did that new stream, so and it says it's connected on my end. Before I
Okay,
had the so maybe you didn't close it out, did you?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. It says I'm live, but I can't see the live. So if you out there, hit me up in a DM and let me know, and we will figure this out together. Um, but oh well, either way, we're gonna just jump right into it if you cool with that, and we'll figure it out later.
Okay.
How's that sound? All right. So on
Cool.
today's April 13th, the title is "What Do You Need?" What do you need? And our quote comes from none other than Ray Charles himself, the musical genius known as Ray Charles, played by Jamie Foxx in the biographical movie. Ray Charles said, "I'm not into the money thing. You can only sleep in one bed at a time. You can only eat one meal at a time, or be in one car at a time. So I don't have to have millions of dollars to be happy. All I need are clothes on my back, a decent meal, and a little loving when I feel like it. That's the bottom line." And you can just hear him saying, "That's the bottom line."
That's
You
the
can you
bottom
can
line. Yep.
you can almost see him saying that. So that sounds like a quote. That's one of the longer quotes that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, coming from Ray Charles and saying what he said, I understand that, and that's cool with me. So again, "What Do You Need?" is the title. And Ray Charles, the singer, was saying that that's the bottom line, that he doesn't need much. The passage goes, "How do you get others to pull with you instead of against you? How do you get them into your corner, cheering you on, urging you on to victory?" Like all great truths, the answer is surprisingly simple. To the degree you give others what they want, they will give you what you want. It seems incredibly simple. Perhaps it is, if you really understand it, but few do. So for example, the employer must give praise and recognition first. Then the employee will put forth the extra effort. The parent and teacher must express confidence in the child first. Then the child will produce better grades. That's the way the law works. You first give others what they want, then they will give you what you want. But wants and needs are totally separate. Wants are sometimes frivolous and unnecessary. Needs, however, are the deeper currents of one's existence. They're much more meaningful. For example, people want sympathy, but they need empathy. People want riches, but they need fulfillment. People want power, but they need support and cooperation. People want prestige, but they need respect. People want adoration, but they need love. What do others need? Look within yourself for a clue. And the affirmation that we read 3 times, one for me, oh, you, two for me, one for me, one for you, and one for the person that you're going to send this to, is what I need, others need. And what others need, I will give.
Hmm.
What What I need, others need. And what others need, I will give. And last time, what I need, others need. And what others need, I will give. So that's it. What you think about that, Mo?
I'm gonna go back to yesterday. I will push my ego aside and see myself as I really am. I will push my ego aside and see myself as I really am. See myself as I really am is my focus on that. Because when you do that, you can determine what it is that you truly need based on who you truly are, right? But if we're faking the funk, we don't smell it, right? We don't smell it.
Right,
But when we're
right.
faking the funk in life, we don't really see well, we do. We know who we are, but we choose to say it's somebody else. What I'm
Mm,
going through has all to do with circumstances, situations. And that's where I come in and say, you tell me your circumstances, you tell me your situations, and I'll tell you someone who had it much worse, but they determined what it was they needed to get out of those situations, not just financially, physically, but internally. Because if you don't learn how to do it internally, when you hit the next situation, you won't know what you need. You won't know what to do with that situation. You won't know how to walk in the dark. Brandon, it reminds me of, and y'all probably have heard this, I'm not afraid of heights, I'm afraid of falling. I'm not scared of
mm,
the dark. I'm scared of what's in it. I'm not afraid to love. I'm afraid of not being loved back or being hurt. And some of us, we're not afraid of dying. We become afraid to live. I'm
mm,
gonna throw that in. We say some of us, I used to be there. Like I was so fearful of dying that I wasn't living. And it was many reasons, many other reasons, right? But I learned there's that word that little big wheel and I talked about learn. I learned to see myself as I really am so I could build that cathedral, that I could make use of those bricks that God is laying in my life. Another day that we did previously. And I have some more, Brandon, but I'll turn it back over to you to do your thing.
Thanks, Mom. I appreciate your insights. You reminded me of a Gandhi quote. I think where he said, "Live like you're going to die tomorrow, but learn like you're going to live forever."
Right. Right.
Which was, I think,
Plan
very.
plan like you're gonna live forever. Right.
Now,
I had a friend share
I,
that with me.
yeah, I've heard the plan like to live forever, but I think they changed the plan or changed the learn to plan,
Um,
which is very
okay.
interesting. I don't know who changed it to be plan and started using it in that way. But the original quote that I found, on the earliest quote, because I actually was looking at this quote last night, was from Gandhi, where he said, "Learn like you'll live forever," which I didn't. I still have to kind of wrap my head around and do some thinking on. But yeah, thinking about this passage, what do you need? And again, it's reflexive. It seems like every single title in this book is reflexive in some way, meaning it has an external meaning, and it has an internal meaning. It has a
Mhm.
meaning for people at large and society as a whole, in the community as a collective, but it also has a very specific, individualized um, message just for you, or just for me, or just for the person who's reading. And looking at Ray Charles, where he says, "I'm not into the money thing." I like the way that he calls it a thing. He thingifies money, because I think in most cases people deify money. They create money and treat it as if it's an idol of worship, right? Or something that 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 they're due to, or something that they're almost enslaved by, to
Mhm.
where they'll do anything for it. They'll rush to it. They'll sacrifice in order to maintain its possession, um, more so in some cases than they'll do for the closest members of their family or their loved ones. Brothers will lighten up their voice for money. They'll put morals and values. Some of our sisters and brothers will put morals and values aside, or will give up each other in a sense, or do each other wrong, and spread corruption based just on the acquisition of money. And I think it's in the pursuit of happiness. This false thought that money and the possession of it equals happiness. And I don't think that. I think money gives you opportunity, but I think happiness isn't like opportunity for worldly things, but opportunity in itself doesn't present you with happiness and calm. It also makes me think of, when it says, what do you need? It's saying what you need, others need. So give others based on what you know that you need, and you'll be fulfilled. There's a uh, in my faith tradition, there's a saying that says that enough for one is enough for two, and enough for two is enough for three, and enough for three is enough for four. So, and you'll be more fulfilled if you have that one. If you're the one in possession of just that one thing, and you share it. Let's say you share a meal, you have one plate of food, but your brother or your neighbor is hungry. If you share that plate of food, not only will they be more fulfilled than they would have been, but you'll be more fulfilled than you would have been if you would have eaten the plate all on your own. That there's a hidden blessing, and there's a reality unseen, but a reality all the same, or a metaphysical reality, that when you share what you have, it does not take away from your provision.
Mm.
Let me say that again. What you share or what you give in charity does not take away from your provision. So we also believe that whatever amount of money or provision that is due to you is due to you. No matter what you do, it's going to come to you. You are when you're born, there's a few things that are determined, and one of them is when you will die. Right? There's a date that's set for you, and people say, well, how? There's a date that is set for you, but there's also how much you will obtain in wealth. This is called qadr, or the decree of God, right? And those two things are set in place, and the only thing that changes it is possibly your supplications, or your being blessed by God from prayer or something like that. But there's something that's already set in that. So whatever you do to try to steal money or gamble money or anything like that, you're actually taking away. So we believe that if you gamble, for example, that you're actually taking away and using up the amount that you are set to get. And so what you're getting extra right now isn't anything extra that you would have gotten anyway. You're just taking it early. And you may face a time where you don't make any money later on, because you were going to make that money anyway. You're just getting it out early. And so now you have to go through this famine or this drought of time, or time spent without money, because you went and decided to gamble. You went and decided to roll dice and play and play with your provision, and make a bet, as opposed to relying on your creator.
So
So
is
do you?
that like you got it before you needed it because you wanted it, and then on this
Mhm.
day, and so you've used it perhaps, but it was meant for this day.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because you chose in what we consider an evil way of obtaining it, or if
Okay.
you do
In the way of
usury.
gambling.
Right.
Okay. And we could we
So
could we could exchange that for excessive shopping, as
yeah,
Ray Charles says here. I can only ride in one car at a time. I can only sleep in one bed or one room at a time. I've seen people single, and not saying anything wrong with it, but they have these 5, 6 bedroom homes.
yeah,
Um, and now that they have to fill up with furniture, and you just keep chasing the dream, you keep
yeah.
chasing it. Brandon, if I would, I'd like to go down to where it talks about people want sympathy, but they need
And,
empathy, right? So let's look at, and y'all, I was going to kind of go through all of these, but this is where I think, for the sake of time, for sure this morning, but also as I mentioned yesterday, it says that what we learn here, what we get, requires more time for contemplation. So why don't you take
Mhm.
that for today's your
Aside.
own exercises, right? Look through those things. Let's look at sympathy versus empathy. So it says people want sympathy, but they need empathy. Why do you think we want sympathy? Right? We want the sympathy. Empathy is shown in how much compassion and understanding we can give to another. Compassion and understanding and all that get the understanding of everything, of the people you love, you deal with day to day, because that is what build our relationships, right? That is the richest of relationships, when you understand me. Because when you understand me, you are likely not to be offended by me, right? And
Mhm.
you know what I need. You are interested in learning what I need. So empathy is shown in how much compassion and understanding we give to another. Sympathy is more about a feeling of pity for another. Why do we feel so low? I want you to pity my situation. Oh, woe, it's me. Empathy is about our ability to understand how someone feels, why sympathy is our relief in not having the same problems, right? Get that, you guys. So take some time. I have them all pulled
Yeah.
up. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Look it up. And all I did was sympathy versus empathy,
Right.
riches versus fulfillment. There's a plethora of things out there for you to read. So this is what this means. More time for contemplating. Will you do the work to learn and see yourself as you really are, so that you will know when to say yes and when to say no. When you'll know to say no to sympathy, no to riches, no to power. And it says power, they want power. And remember what you said, Brandon, about our wants and needs, right? Remember what when our wants become our needs, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
you only need one bed to sleep in. You
Right.
really only need one car to drive. And I get it. It's okay because things happen to that one car. So two max, right?
Hmm.
Because you can only drive one at a time. And think about, why do we want the sympathy? Why do we want the riches? Because empathy is our ability to understand how someone feels, while sympathy is our relief in not having the same problems. So you're going to have problems. Life is going to happen. But if you know who you really are, you know what you really need, even through the darkest time of your life. You know what you really need. Because truth be told, we don't need anything, because God says, I will supply what? Your every need. And I truly believe that. It's just the wants. It's the wants that get in the way, and why we want the wants. Because the wants is for something else.
And it's distracting. It's
Right.
feeding the it's feeding the ego.
The
The wants.
ego.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Something else that I thought about, and what do you need? And I'm just thinking about all the things that all the light bulbs that kind of flash in my head about this. And one of those light bulbs is how these principles are used in business. These principles are used in rhetoric. These principles are used in writing. These principles are not just things that we're reading on a page. These are principles that apply in a multitude of different areas in our life. So when we're reading these things, let's look at where all we can apply this. So like they gave multiple examples here about um, the employer must give the recognition first, the praise and recognition. They hired you, right? So they're giving praise and recognition of what you've already accomplished, or what their employees have already accomplished, and their potential, right? They're giving acknowledgement to that before that employee puts that extra effort back, before they feel motivated. Or like, this is what coaches are for, right? This is what teachers are for. They must express confidence in the child, then the child produces better grades. Like you've actually helped me with this, mom, in the way that I bring up my children, and how now we're really promoting like confidence and making sure that they are in an emotional state that is good for them to learn and to soak up information. And if they're not, then recognize that they're children and we'll just have to move maybe a little differently,
Right.
or if they become too too distraught or something, to not try to change the direction so quick on them, but rather slowly
Allow them to feel,
allow them to
process their
express that and to
feelings.
digest that out and
Right.
then get back to it, right? So like I think
Brandon, can I
that's
say something? Can I say something? Because
sure.
I'll forget this. I saw a picture on Facebook where, and I believe it was a police officer, and there was a young kid. It may have been a teacher. He was having a moment, and he was on the floor crying. And the male teacher or police officer, he literally got down on the floor and laid down beside him, just as he was laying. He just laid there with him. He just laid there with him. And so Brandon's talking my language, you guys, because I wish I had the awareness. We were brought up to be so stern with these kids, and I believe in discipline, but I also there's something more important than discipline. There's something more important than A's and B's, and that is the emotional state, the mental state of a human being, especially a child. Because why? They don't know what we know, right? They don't know. They are learning. They are forever evolving. I remember when Zolly, all of a sudden, she became fearful of water. And I remember
Yeah,
looking some
well,
things up, and it said they do that. It's all so big and happening so fast to them until sometimes they get afraid of the very thing that they enjoyed, right? And
yeah,
so as adults, we sometimes put the kids in a position to know how to process what they need, right? When we
right,
as adults, we're still trying to figure that out. We want them to be stern and this and that and that. And the best way they can see that and do that is to see you be and do that. See you being in control of your emotions, seeing you not waffling, right? So Brandon's gonna get me off subject here, but that is a great point to bring up because we have to start there so that those kids are not here where we are trying to figure it out at this time, at this age,
right,
right?
right,
So the best thing we can do, and the best thing we can do now is start now for us so that the ones who are coming up after us, they won't have the question, what do I need? They won't have it. They will know. They will know that sympathy is not it, that riches has nothing to do with fulfillment. Fulfillment. So, unlike the definition of success, fulfillment is enriching and endures. Endures. Personal fulfillment is the achievement of life's goals that are important to an individual, in contrast to the goals of society, right?
mm,
So we get caught up. See, the riches is about what I look like to society. Fulfillment is someone truly understanding and me conquering my goals, my purpose, the reason I'm here. See, a bird wouldn't be comfortable. A bird would not be comfortable underwater. The fish would not be comfortable sitting on the limb of the tree, right? They would not be fulfilled. Maybe I'll change it to that word. So over to you, Brandon.
yeah. Thanks, Mom. One of the things I was getting to was the fact that even in like
Sorry.
business, for example, no, you're fine, baby, you're fine. That was super, that was great. Um, Even in business, if you notice the way that they one marketing technique and advertising technique, I say advertising technique, is to give something away free in order to compel someone to purchase, right? So, for example, one of the marketing techniques and advertising techniques would be when you're speaking to somebody, you're trying to sell them something, put it in their hand, right? If I'm trying to give you this, sell you this pen, I would put it in your hand, be like, here, this is here. And then I start speaking about the pen. So just the fact of someone receiving something in their hand from you does two things. It gets their attention, right? It and makes them wait.
Hmm.
It makes them pause for a moment and say, okay, you gave me something. Now I at least owe you my time. And I have it in my hand. I now possess it for a moment. And if you take it back, it's now all of a sudden I'm at a loss. right? This is subconscious. So you'll often see, 10% off, or get a free this if you do this, or uh, get this free ebook when you give us your email, and we'll also give you a discount. And now they have your email to advertise to you from now until forever. But in many cases, one of the advertising techniques is to give something for free first of value, and then that will compel them to purchase from you. So when you go back to what do you need, and what you need is oftentimes what someone else needs. So if you found value in whatever you're selling, and this isn't just in selling, this isn't just transactional in business. This can be transactional in emotion. If I start to whisper, if you notice, it makes you want to start to whisper,
Mm-hmm.
right? If I get very quiet, and I get close to my screen, you become more interested. It's not whether I got really loud to make you more interested. It's more intense now because of the way that I'm speaking. And I didn't do that by making myself bigger. I did it by creating space and making myself almost smaller, but more intentful. And you can feel that in the way that we communicate. So these principles go hand in hand in a multitude of different areas. So when you think about this today, you go through, people want sympathy, but they need empathy, or they want riches, but they need fulfillment, want power, but need cooperation and support. Think about how many places you can apply this. So I want to respect the time. I know my mother has to get up out of here. So if you're cool with it, Mom, I'm going to bring it to a close.
Yeah, and what we'll do, Brandon, I think this is worthy of maybe just about 5 minutes of our time tomorrow before we start into day 74, because there's a few more things, but I have to get out of here this morning, you guys, and I apologize, but I got to do what I got to do. Hope you will go and put in sympathy versus empathy. Pick one of those. Pick the one that you think you need the most learning on, right? Or you
Mhm.
feel you're there. Pick it, and then we'll kind of revisit them. And we'd like to hear which ones you picked, or which one you picked, and your thoughts on it. So come back and rock with us tomorrow. But please do give more contemplation to this one, right? Thank you
Yeah.
guys. Brandon,
Yeah.
to your thing.
Thank you, Mike, Brenda, Nelda. I appreciate y'all coming through. And if there's anybody on Instagram Live, I can't see you. I'm sorry. But give me a DM and let me know that you saw this. If you are on Instagram, just do me that quick favor and let me know that you saw it, so we can figure out, what the heck is going on with Instagram. They don't like some of my content because I get at them sometimes. But
Hey, Brandon, can you let them know when and I know you have, whenever, because we don't have control over it, right? We can only just show up and try to do it. Go to YouTube. If they cannot see it on there and they don't want to miss this barbecue, go over to YouTube. Tell them to
okay,
subscribe so that they'll know that we're on in the event we have what we had today, or Facebook, but
sounds
YouTube
good.
preferably.
That's
Thank
a
you.
good that's a good idea. Thank you, Mama, for that. But today, on the 73rd day, consecutive day of the In This Season podcast, um, our title was "What Do You Need?" What do you need? And our quote from the distinguished African American Ray Charles said, "I'm not into the money thing. You can only sleep in one bed at a time. You can only eat one meal at a time, or be in one car at a time. So I don't have to have millions of dollars to be happy. All I need are clothes on my back, a decent meal, and a little loving when I feel like it. That's the bottom line." And the affirmation that we read 3 times, yeah, Ray Charles is something else. Um, the affirmation that we read 3 times, one for me, one for you, and one for the person that I know and trust that you're going to send this to. We gave you something of value. That's what we needed, so we gave it to you. Now, what can we reciprocate back to this to this circle of positive energy and affirmation? It's you sending this to someone else and sharing the principles, buying the book for someone else maybe, and for yourself. If you know someone that needs this, but you haven't bought the book, get 2 of them. Get one for the person that needs it and one for you. And I bet you both of you will read it. But if you just get it, you might not read it. It might sit on the shelf. So we'll read this 3 times. What I need, others need. And what others need, I will give. What I need, others need. And what others need, I will give. And last time, remember, this last one's for the person you're going to send this to. Who needs to hear this? You know, what I need, others need.
Mm.
And what others need, I'm going to give. All right. So go out there with open hearts and open hands. You want to receive something, you can't receive it with a closed fist. You can't grab anything with a closed fist. You can't get anything with a closed fist. So you have to give first and open up your hands. Outstretch your hands before anything can come back in. Okay. Just know that law of reciprocity. I love y'all. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 7 a.m. The End of Season podcast. We'll see you then. Peace.
Peace.